right, welcome everyone. Welcome to my channel. On this channel, we cover stock market technical analysis. We go through the broad markets. We look for trade ideas. We're constantly pointing out, different trades that could, trade setups before they take place. And then when trades actually are actionable and they trigger, then we follow along and just monitor those trades. So if you're new and you find value in trade setups, trade ideas, leave me a thumbs up. Again, I don't get everything right, and nobody does. It's all about just using the probabilities and then managing risk, managing your trade. Some trades work out, some don't. If they don't work out, we want to lose small. And if they do work out, we want to win big. That's the name of the game. So I teach all these concepts in my course. Link in the description below. If you're interested, click the link, check it out. It's a $100 course, $99. But it's about 5 or 6 hours of training, and it should really help and complement these videos. Okay, we're going to get right into it. We'll start off with the triple Q. So levels that I've been watching recently, if you look at the hourly chart, we've got kind of two support levels, but basically on the hourly chart, we have a support level here at 362.30. We've been chopping sideways. I've got this big thing circled, but that's the support zone. You can see we've been going sideways all through here on the hourly chart, just bouncing off of that. And we have a lower level right here where we had one reaction, and that's at 360.73. So you can see even today, we even had some reactions there. So we opened this morning below both those levels. So definitely was looking, we had the opportunity for a breakdown today, but the buyers, the dip buyers stepped in and bought it up. So you can see we opened right here below the level, and if we would have sold off, that would have been a sell signal. But we didn't get that. Instead, what happened is they bought it up, bid it up, and then as it sold off and hit that other support level right there at 362.33 and then bounced. So I think those are pretty valid levels. Again, we're watching for a breakdown right now of those levels. That's going to be the next sell signal. I think we're going to get it. I can just say that because we have negative divergences. And we're not going up anymore, we're just going sideways. But see the big negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. So that tells me that we're likely going to sell down, but we didn't get it today. So we have momentum moving lower, price kind of moving sideways, starting to break, but the dip buyers were there again. The next break that I get, I think if we get another break, and it's really just below this level right here. Hourly close below is what I'm looking for. We didn't get it today, but the next one I think is going to be the real deal. And that's going to likely set us up for a pretty swift move to the downside. Where do we go if we do get that sell signal? Well, we have this big price channel going all the way back. If I look here on the weekly, it's going all the way back to, let me adjust my line here. Okay, there it is. Got my line adjusted. But this big long price channel, this is the bull market in tech coming off the 2009 lows. Big long bull market right there. And you can see we broke it once to the downside. This is where the Fed stepped in and popped it back up. We broke it again. The Fed stepped in again. So you can anticipate that if we break it again, the Fed's likely going to try to step in again. It doesn't mean they're going to be able to save it, though. The Fed doesn't have interest rates to work with anymore. So, that's something to pay attention to. And, this is long-term stuff, but if the Fed, if we do break the lower price channel, maybe the Fed's just going to start pumping money. Who really knows? But if we get a sell signal soon, I think we could easily come down and hit that trend line. And that would be down at 320, 325. It really depends on when you get down there and where it tags it at. But I could see a move down. All right, and that would be consistent with a correction being about 11 to 15%. So that's what I'm looking for as a potential. Again, going back to the hourly, we got to see a break of this hourly price area. So the SPY has some support right here. I had it marked out. I didn't extend it, but you can see it's right there. And so I'd also want to see a break of this level, 436 area. You can see on the hourly that today we gapped down to it and that we basically opened right at support and the buyers were there stepping in. So an impulsive hourly breakdown or close below there. Again, that 436 area. And I would say that we're likely going to head down to this trend line right here, marked in red. And that trend line, that right now that level falls at about 423.87. You know, depends on when you get there, but I could see us hitting that trend line. That is the long-term trend line off the weekly chart on the S&P 500, coming off the 2009 lows. So you can see every time we've hit this trend line, the buyers have been there. We hit it there, hit it there, hit it there. Finally, in 2018, we broke, tagged it as resistance from underneath, COVID. So the Fed stepped in, you know, every time you broke, the Fed stepped in here, the Fed stepped in here. All right. And we were underneath that trend line. Recently, though, with all the government intervention, they popped it back above that support line right there. So a sell signal likely is going to bring us down to there, and then we'll watch what happens there. If we break below there and start to break down, then likely we saw the highs in the bull market. All right, and we're likely going into a bear market. But until then, you know, we could come down, hit support, hold, and just continue higher. Anything's possible. Those are the short-term things I'm looking for. And the small caps, IWM, basically trading sideways today. The buyers weren't really there in the small caps. It sold off and closed, you know, down near the support area. So you can see this big sideways range, and we've hit support. You know, it's sitting there right about 209.37. We hit it here, hit it there, hit it there. We have 3 tags of that, and we're coming down to it. So this is where the buyers should be at. Again, when you're in a sideways range, you buy at support and you sell or short at resistance or near support. And if you see a break of that support, then we got bigger things happening. And an impulsive breakdown of this level, you should see a pretty swift move to the downside. But until you get that breakdown, then, you know, that is support. Okay, looking at some of these large cap tech stocks, Amazon sold off a little bit more today. Again, Amazon just continues to look like it's heading right down to 2,933 area. That's the support zone. That's this big sideways trading range. I think it's very likely we're going to hit that and probably go below it. But again, we're looking at that level and continuing lower today. But these FANGs love to play the game of whack-a-mole. Basically, one will move down and then the money just comes out of that one. So basically, people are selling their Amazon and they're buying Microsoft today. So you can see Microsoft, they popped this thing up and it was up 2%. No real reason, just the fact that money's coming out of one, some of the FANGs, and going into the other. So Microsoft was up, and because these all have such large market weighting, the market won't go down unless you have consistent selling in a couple of these. If you have money coming out of one and transitioning into the other, the market just goes sideways. And that's really what we saw today. So Microsoft, I don't see anything really bearish on Microsoft in the price action. There is negative divergence, and that has been building. Again, this is a divergent high even today. New all-time high. Lower momentum right there than previous. So you can see downtrending momentum, popping higher in price. So that's all I see. Until you see a sell signal on this one, Microsoft, you know, we've got a little bit of a trend line, kind of a minor trend line right there. So perhaps like a breakdown of that on the hourly chart, and that might set us up. Apple basically what came down to that support level 144.35 and bounced. So again, I'm still waiting for a breakdown. This is just more sideways action in Apple. Nothing's changed technically. We have negative momentum, negative divergences, sideways price action, waiting for the sell signal. Facebook, now Facebook is below this bearish rising wedge. So this is coming off the March 2020 lows. Actually, my line looks like it's off slightly. Let me tighten that up. Okay, so I kind of adjusted that. And you've got this bearish rising wedge. One thing is right here we dip below, but you can see we did have reactions here, here, and then there. If you want to, what I would do most likely is just give it the benefit of the doubt and move this down just like that. And yes, we only have 2 data points, but I think it's wise to give this one the benefit of the doubt. So we'll just say that as of right now, this is still within the bearish rising wedge. Negative divergences building on these. They continue to build. So when the sell signal comes, it's likely going to be a pretty impulsive move to the downside. But again, we just don't have that sell signal yet. So until we have that, we'll just let this thing continue to grind higher. Okay, gold. This is gold bullion. Again, we had that big reversal candle last week. And since then, when we basically hit that major support right here at 1682, we bounced above. And we're holding this bull trend. So here's the bull trend. You can see support, support, support through here. We broke down false breakout and we're back above support. And look at how we're trading out. Let me zoom in right there. You can see we're just kind of grinding along the support line, holding it. We have bullish divergence in place. So there's your bullish divergence. See how you made a higher high in momentum, but a lower low in price, or an equal low basically. And that's bullish divergence. So bullish momentum, and we had that reversal candle, that kind of reversal doji candle. Everything looks bullish. I think maybe we're grinding around here a little bit more, but I think it's going to pop like that. So we are just waiting for that. That's what I'm expecting. Gold still looks good. The miners continue to kind of sell down. Let's look at GDX. Again, the miners continue to sell down, but here's GDX, and this is exactly where I thought it was going to head to. So you've got this blue line, which is the big downward channel right there. This is where we started the channel. Once we broke above it, see that breakout candle, big impulsive breakout candle, some increased volume, ran up, back test 1. So there's a back test of the trend line, and then back test number 2. So we are right in the area where this is the buy zone, or this is a objective buy zone. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work, but this is definitely an objective area to go long. The gold miners, again, on GDX, you also have a major support zone right there at 31.35. And as I zoom out, you can see that is that was major resistance going all the way back to 2013, 31.35 area. There it is right there. There it is right there. You can see resistance, 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 resistance. We finally broke above, and once we broke above, support, support. Okay, I've got it circled there. There's support, and again, support. All right. So nothing guarantees it's going to work, but this is definitely the objective area to go long. And you see the little flush out today as well. You see more selling. If they recover this, then that was a stop raid. All right. So that's what I'm expecting it to be. I'm expecting the selling this next couple days, and then they're going to recover that 31, 35 area. And we're going to view this as a stop raid, and then we're off to the races we go for the next leg higher. All right? Doesn't mean it's going to work out, but we got to just take what we can get in the charts and then manage our risk. Okay, here's a trade I talked about a while ago. Drip. Continuing to work, heading up to this 14 level. It looks like we're heading straight up there. This trade was pointed out back here where I have it circled, and this is where we had a bullish divergence. See that momentum moving up right there while price was still moving down? That was your indication that look for a trend reversal. And we got that trend reversal and a buy signal right there on this day when we broke above this downtrend line. And ever since, it's pretty much been upward momentum since. You kind of consolidated for quite a while, and then boom, big impulsive breakout. And as of right now, we're in the middle of this range. So top of the range, 1397. Bottom of the range, it's about 959, 960, somewhere right in there. At this point, I would view anything dipping down as a buy and likely looking to take profit up here at 14. And if that trade gets up to that 14 area, the buy signal, which I pointed out on this channel, if you took it at the end of the day, that trade would be a trade of 84% profitable in a pretty short period of time. So that one's continuing to work out. Leave me a thumbs up, guys, if you're finding value in this content. Let me know that that what I'm putting out on YouTube has some value. Leave a comment below, and I do appreciate that. Tesla. So Tesla's kind of battling it out in this zone. So you can see here we've got this support line on the daily chart right there. It's kind of the secondary support line that we've created. I think if we break that impulsively, we're heading straight down to that 465, 460 range. This is the target right now. And from where we're at, that's still another 30% to the downside. And that's what I'm anticipating we get. Now, again, we did have negative divergence building on Tesla for a while. And it really started to show up back here. This is where you had the negative divergence. You can see it right there where we started to drop off. So each one of these new highs were divergent highs. And then we've started what looks to be a downtrend. I've got it kind of circled out, but you've got the high here. You've got the low. You got a lower high, a lower low. Now we're making a new high, or we've got a high right here. If we fail, that was a lower high. And then I would expect a lower low, which really puts us in that 460 to 465 range. So downtrend is intact. This is not uptrending anymore. It is definitely downtrending, and I think that's going to continue. So you can see here, though, on the daily chart, we've got this little trend line, and we're breaking. They recovered it yesterday, back below it today. Not impulsive, not an impulsive breakdown yet, but if you get a big impulsive red candle like that, then that would set this up for that move down. And I do think that's going to come. Starbucks, talked about this one. I've got it circled. This was really the short that I was looking at and where I went short. But Starbucks had negative divergence. Let me roll out. You can see on the daily chart, big downward momentum on Starbucks on the PPO. And, you know, it was pretty much an equal high on the RSI, but that's still negative divergence because we were making higher highs in price. We broke trend right here back on May 12th. And this is your trend coming off the March 2020 lows, clear uptrend, broke trend. We back tested once and then ran up for a back test twice. And I talked about this in Starbucks where I thought, especially when it was ramping right here, it looked like it was going to run up and do a back test. It did. They popped it above that, but that created an island cluster top, meaning we gapped up, traded for a few days, and then gapped down, leaving these candles floating up there, creating an island. That's a reversal pattern, and we've seen nothing but selling ever since. So again, this is moving down. You can see down a little counter trend bounce and then continue the trend. Next level of support, I don't think there's any real support till we hit about 109.45. You can see we had lots of reactions there, there, and there. So that's the next level where I think you're likely going to get a little bounce. But I do think we're heading a lot lower on this, even though we'll likely get a bounce down there. So still more downside in this one, and this trade is working out. This is a trade that, you know, I took it up here, but even if you took it on the gap down, you're profitable now by about 6.5–7%. And, you know, if you took it up here on this gap island, you're profitable by about 9% with some more downside to come. So looking good as a short still. Here's GM. Talked about this one on the sell signal right here. But again, these were your divergent highs. I started pointing it out up here. There's a big negative divergence right there. Broke trend. So that was your sell signal right there, and nothing but downside ever since. A little bit of consolidation for a while, but if you took it on the sell signal at the end of the day, you'd be profitable by about 14, is that right? 14% or so. No, sorry, not quite. Maybe 13% or so. It's profitable by about 13%. So looking good. I don't see any support till we get down to about 46.85. Now again, there is some support there, so you know you might come close, and then the buyers will step in. So if you're shorting this thing, it's always makes sense to cover your short position a little bit above the support level. Things to take note of. Okay, Alcoa. This is a new trade setup. Not an actionable trade yet, but definitely a setup. So on Alcoa, coming off the March 2020 lows, clear upward price channel right there. But we're starting to build negative divergence. So you can see I'm going to extend this out here on the PPO, and then on the RSI, we've got an equal high basically right there. And it is negative divergence where you have a series of higher highs in price. And even recently right here, we popped it up. And right there, just popped it over that recent high right there, just barely over. But that high was a divergent high, so you can see the momentum is lower than the previous high right there, and kind of an equal amount of momentum right there. So that's negative divergence. Doesn't mean it's time to short, but it does mean be on the lookout. And you can see here the lower support line coming off the March 2020 lows. Lots of reactions along that. A little bit of a bear trap right there, but we closed today right at support. So this is where the buyers should be at. You know, we should see a pop like that above. But what I would watch for is a break of this, whether it comes in a gap down tomorrow, or maybe we grind around here for a couple days and then break. Anything can happen. But if you see a big impulsive breakdown candle or a gap and crap, like where it gaps down and it just sells off, that's your sell signal on that one. Now, if we sell down, first level of support, 31.80. Next level of support that I can find looks to be right about there, which is at 25.19. So those are two levels to watch. You know, from where we're at now, the first level is about a 14% drop, and then down to that other level would be about 30%. Again, it doesn't look like much on the chart because I use log scaling, but you know, it is a 30% drop. Some folks asked me to cover Bitcoin, so I'll just look at the Bitcoin futures. I've had this chart marked out for a while. So again, this was the uptrend that I was watching. There was your last divergent high, and here's your sell signal, and that played out. That was a good trade. Down at the lows here, where we hit the support down around 30,900, we started to build bullish divergence. So that was an indication that, okay, likely that downtrend was about done. Time for an uptrend. And there's your buy signal right there, a breakout above this downward trend line. And ever since it's been up. Now, we are up at this resistance line. We're above it. There's some support right there at about 4,472, and we're kind of holding right there. So this could be a flag. We could be bull flagging, kind of flag out and then run like that. Maybe running to a new all-time high. I don't see, there's a little bit of negative divergence starting to build on the hourly chart. You can see it if I go here, if I can just get rid of all these squiggly lines. You can see it. Well, no, it's not. Yeah, there it is right there a little bit. You can see there on the PPO how we have a, here's your high, and then you made a new higher high in price, but lower high in momentum. So it's there on the PPO and the RSI. But again, that's just on the hourly chart. So, it could mean a small move. We don't really know. If it starts to show up on the daily, I mean, it's just barely there on the daily, not quite there. So I think we could probably build a little bit more of a divergence. But I would look for an impulsive break below 44,640 area as a sell signal. And unless you get that, then I think we're probably going to, move higher. So nothing I would short. I'm not really looking for a short here. But we'll watch the developments, see if it starts to build some more. Okay, guys, that's all I got for today. We'll keep an eye on the markets. Leave me a thumbs up if you find some value. I do appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.